Is the air in your H2 not working that well? There's a very decent chance that your recirculation damper is not working properly. Mine was struggling to keep up when it was hot outside. And the whole issue was that the recirculation damper was not working. You can see when the truck comes on, damper needs to be in recirculate, and what this allows is for the cabin air to be recirculated to the evaporator. It makes your cooling much more efficient. But if your damper isn't working properly, the thing will just sit here and suck 120-degree air from outside and it'll barely cool. The only issue with that is that damper is physically located right under here, and everyone says that you have to remove the entire dashboard to replace it. But that's not the case, and I'm going to show you in this video how I did it. It wasn't horrible, but it really is very challenging. It's only a few screws, but they're extremely hard to get to. But let me go to past me and show you how I did this. I think you'll find it's quite a bit easier than removing this whole dashboard, but that doesn't mean it's just easy. So just to show what I'm talking about, we are currently doing about 76 degrees on the discharge, which is not very good. So the way that you're going to want to test your air inlet or recirculation damper is with a scan tool, ideally. Another way that you can test it is by opening the glove box and pulling this little catch back. You can see I'm holding this thing out of the way. You see those little mesh grates right there? If you press the recirculate button, as you can see I just turned it off, you should see this damper move. Now this is after fixing it. As you can see, the damper moves. So if you need an easy way to test it, that's the way to verify its operation. You can see those grates are now open. Now you can see this thing says, and it shows counts here. And if you look, when I press the recirculation button, it doesn't really have any effect. I know the counts are moving, but if you look way under here, which you really can't see very well, you'll see right around where that cable is. If you stick your hand right there, you will actually feel the damper. There's a damper in this little crack here. And the thing is, I can tell it's fully closed and it's actually letting air in from outside 100%. So what was happening is evaporator's getting, 110 degree or better air, and it just simply can't keep up with that. Now the way you test it with the scan tool is you go to your settings here and you'll go to the air inlet door. Now if you look right here, see it shows the counts right there. We can turn it on. Okay, let me stick my hand under here. I know I can't show you what it's doing, but I can tell you it's not moving. Okay, let me turn it off. Let me see if it moves any. It is still not moving. So for whatever reason, this thing's jacked up, little actuator. So let me show you how I'm going to replace it. It's not easy to get to, but I think we can do it without taking the entire dashboard apart. First thing you're going to want to do is get a 7mm and take these 3 screws out for your glove box. Now that you got the whole thing loose, you'll want to unlatch it there on the left and remove the entire glove box. There it is, whole thing. Now that I've removed that whole assembly there, you have a pretty clear view of the actuator and damper. So this right here is the damper I was talking about. See the damper in there behind that screen. So right now it's actually fully closed, so it's sucking in only outside air, which is very inefficient for cooling the car during the summer. Now if you look right over here, that little black square on the left, your actuator, and it has some little tiny screws on it. So the deal is I'm going to see if I can get to it through this access hole without removing the entire dashboard. But you can see there's the actuator. If you shove your hand in here just right with your 8mm socket on a nut driver, you can remove the screws that hold it in. Now the other one is on the bottom corner. It's actually quite a bit harder to get to than this one, so I can't record it, but you kind of get the idea. Take your 8mm on a nut driver, shove your hand in here and you can, in fact, get to the screws. And there's the actuator. So I'll show you how I got to it. I couldn't record it because it blocks the camera. It's mounted in there just like this. The first screw you saw me get out. This one, let me show you the position that I had to get in to get it out. Took the socket, stuck my hand in here just like this, okay? Right here. You see how my hand's going way in there. And what I did is I kind of laid on the floor of the truck, passenger floor, stuck my arm up in here just like this, and then got it on the back screw by feel, took it out, and there we go. To get it off the shaft, I just kind of wiggled the actuator back and forth while pulling out, and it came right off. So now I have to go to the parts store with this actuator to get a new one. The connector was real easy to squeeze on the tab there and it comes right out. Wire is very, very short though, so just be aware of that. I just got back from AutoZone. They were the only ones with it in stock. Here is the part number. This is the Dorman number, I believe, 604121. And if you look, they are identical. The primary difference between this and the other actuators is that this one has a steel drive snout here. It also has this little tab thing that sticks out the bottom right there. The other one is just perfectly smooth right here. It has the same drive, but it doesn't have this tab and the plastic's molded around it. So slightly different. It appears that it has the same connector, but if you look, these two are identical. So now comes the really fun part of putting this thing back in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to approximate the position of this actuator, the drive here, shove it into place. Then I'm going to secure the screws to the nut driver. And I'm going to kind of just do the same thing in reverse, and then we'll hope that it works. Don't forget to plug this in. Very first thing though, it's very hard to do otherwise. So I was finally able to get the actuator in place. And the way I did it was by holding it. There's a locating tab on the bottom. So on the bottom, it doesn't actually have a screw. It has this little pin. So you'll see a pin sticking out. I got it roughly where it needs to be. And then what I did is with one hand, another person would be helpful, I pressed the Recirculate button, which is the button with the light on there. Let the actuator spin while kind of pressing on it, and then it just jumped into place. Had to do it a few times, but I got it lined up. And now comes the fun part, putting these two screws back in. One of the hardest parts of what we're doing is keeping the screw in here. Now, if you have a magnetic socket, that's great, but you can't guarantee that's gonna work. So what I'm gonna do is get this thing fully seated, and I'm gonna put just a small amount of tape around this, which is a little trickier than it looks. But this tape, all I'm gonna do is just pull the screwdriver out once I'm done, tightening it, and then it'll be good to go, but it'll keep it from falling off. And yes, I did tape the socket on here as well, but all we'll need to do is tighten this down, get it to where it needs to be, pull it off, and if we have to, I can stick the screwdriver back in without tape and finish tightening it. But you don't want to lose the screw because you will never find it, probably. Showing you this angle because I can't record under there. I just want you to see the angle I'm reaching the actuator. Now I'm going to show you the position that I'm using to get to this rearward one. The forward one's a lot easier. The rearward one is quite a bit more of a challenge. So I would suggest you do the forward one first to make sure you don't lose position of the actuator. Got a few threads in it. Now I'm going to remove the tape and I'm going to finish tightening it. So it's the same deal. This one's going to be interesting to fully tighten because I can barely reach it. Okay, I just want you to see how I did this. And I have got the longest extension ever on this 1/4 inch with a wobble socket at the end. This made it 100 times easier. You come in through this cavity here, and then you'll go snake it past all these hundreds of wires and everything. And then you'll use your right hand, which will stick in through this gap right here, to line up the socket, while your left hand will rotate this extension. And after that struggle, I finally got it, and now we can actually test and see if this makes a difference for the function of the air conditioning. Before I put all this stuff together, we're gonna give it a shot here. turn this all the way up. Let's see if the actuator works or what happened. Set it on recirculate. Oh, look at that. Working wonderfully. Wow, it goes way up there. Even farther than I can push it. Now let's see what this makes on the temperature. As you can see, it's kind of upside down. 65 degrees, and like I said, I got the door open right now. It only took it a few seconds to get down to that temperature. If you look under here, our damper, hard to see it, is actually fully open right now. So we're recirculating air from the cabin into the evaporator rather than sucking all the air in from outside, which results in a much lower discharge temperature and better cooling. So that's really all there is to it. It's working great now. The air is putting out good low temperatures. Even on the hottest of days, it's no problem as long as the recirculate is on. So I hope this video was helpful and stopped you from having to remove the whole dash, because that would be a pain in the butt. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks.